everybody. Thank you for doing this so early in the morning. I really appreciate it. And you can also follow us afterwards at Coti.io and see this and other things. So I'm the CEO of Coti. My name is Shahaf. I've been in crypto since 2016, and we founded Coti in 2017, so very early to the game. This keynote is about privacy, but it's really more about the future of the internet. And the future of the internet begins with a clicker. So I'll click this, and you'll click there. This is the concept of relers, for those of you who are not familiar with the tech stack. Yes, amazing. Okay, so if you think about the future, we're actually at an interesting junction, right? Will the future of the internet be what we call Web 2, which is essentially 6 companies that control data, ownership, essentially reality, if you think about this? Or would we have a decentralized internet, what we call Web 3? And I know most of you are techies, but let's just reiterate about the basic of the basic, right? So Web 2, there, users interact with the service keeps the data centralized, the metadata is unobservable for those who watch this service. This is Instagram, Facebook, and so on and so forth. A decentralized internet means that users own their data, but there's a trade-off. And the trade-off is the metadata. When we interact with a public blockchain, it is completely visible. If we keep data on a public blockchain, it's completely visible. So that's the trade-off. And essentially, you need to decide which of the evils you prefer. A centralized internet where your children and your children's children will live in a world where AI and everything else is controlled by a few companies, or live in a world where they don't actually have privacy because everything that they do is immutable and visible for everybody else to see. This is actually where we're at right now. And to be honest, people actually prefer the first dystopian future. People actually prefer Instagram to keep their entire social graph, and they get likes and hearts, and they're happy about this. Actually, they prefer this because in reality, people are not happy with showing everybody their bank accounts, right? Their trading history, what they hold, their health records, shopping history, who they vote for. People are not really happy about this. Hence, Web 2 will continue to prevail. And actually, it's a known thing. Like, it's not a bug that we've recently unveiled. This is not a weakness that some security company just found. This is something that is known to be a major concern when you think about adoption, and not just for retail users, right? Companies and enterprises will not work on a blockchain unless it can keep a secret. It is that simple. And essentially, it's about freedom of choice, right? Because if you don't have privacy, if you can't actually do what you want because everybody's watching you and scrutinizing you, then you lost a major part of your freedom. What we do in Coti for the last year is to work hard with our partners from Soda Labs to bring privacy to Ethereum. The way we do it is through an L2 that we're just about to launch its testnet. And in this layer 2, we protect both data and metadata. So essentially, we both keep transactions confidential, but also data that is kept on chain can remain confidential. And we do so, and and this may sound familiar because you're going to say, hey, I think fully homomorphic encryption does that. It does. But we don't sacrifice performance while doing so. And before the blockchain police comes in and say, hey, privacy tokens are illegal, they are being delisted, this is against regulation, well, you're wrong. Essentially, privacy is protected by law. This is why we have regulations like GDPR, HIPAA, and other funky names for privacy regulation, right? This is actually the law. What is against regulation is anonymity, which is something different. So basic anonymity means that we don't know who the parties that have been part of this transaction. We may know the transaction content, like the metadata, but we don't know who's done what with whom. So this can lead to money laundering, to terror financing, whatever. Confidentiality means that you have a selective disclosure. It means that you decide who sees the content of this transaction. Okay? This is Web 2. We have that granted in Web 2. So, probably in the coming weeks, we will launch a testnet that does all of that using a core technology that is called gobbling circuits, and I'll get into that. And towards the year's end, we'll be fully on mainnet. And we're doing so on a chain that is already live since 2018. So it already has like a major community, it's listed everywhere, etc. So a bit about the tech stack and the state of things, or the state of the art. So fully homomorphic encryption, the novelty with that, for those of you who are not familiar with it, is that you can actually use and process encrypted data without needing to decipher it. So that's very cool. However, as it stands right now, it is very slow and expensive and demands a lot of storage. So it's a bit broken. Trusted execution environment. So like this is something that Secret Lab uses. It has amazing performance. The only problem with it is that it's not really trusted. It has been hacked and proved to be vulnerable many, many times. ZK, zero knowledge, when it comes to privacy, not to be confused with zero knowledge that is used for scalability. ZK is very nice, but it's very limited in terms of use cases. Essentially, everything that is multi-party, it's super difficult to build like a DEX with ZK, right? And folks are familiar with MPC. When we say MPC here, a lot of these things are MPC, but when we say MPC here, we usually mean secret sharing. Again, very cool, but has a lot of issues when it comes to scalability and performance. Gobbling circuits, which was invented by, this specific use case was invented by Soda Labs, which are in this room, is a very novel technology that actually takes the best of all these worlds and put it on blockchain with a very high performance. The cool thing about it is that it does much faster computation, about 1,000 times faster than FHE, at a far lower latency, lower storage requirement, and in the world in like 3 orders of magnitude lower, and can run on any device. Coti is the first to use this. It has been proven or benchmarked earlier this year on chain, but we are the first to use this technology. Now, all of this is amazing. Infrastructure is usually amazing, but it's all about use cases. Like, nobody cares about the driller. People care about being able to hang a picture on the wall, right? So what can you do if you had private transactions and you can actually store data on chain and use it? Because right now, if you store data on chain and try to use it, everybody's going to read it, remember. So it can't be sensitive data. And most data is sensitive when you think about interesting use cases. So what can you do? The obvious thing is DeFi, right? The basic thing, of course, is not having MEV, because if people can't see your bids, then MEV is useless. But if you run like a proprietary trading algorithm, you don't want people to see what you're doing, right? So you can do that. You can do regulated DeFi and institutional DeFi, because when you speak with institutions, and we had many, many conversations with institutions, the first thing that they'll tell you is, oh, wait, so my data and my transactions will be widely available for everybody to see on a public blockchain? I can't do that. Like by law, my mandate doesn't allow me to do that. So you will never have institutions on chain, and you can continuously wait for the institutions to come to crypto. They will never come to crypto unless you have confidential transactions. That's a fact. So that takes us to real world assets. When you talk with these people, and we spoke with many of them, they will tell you the same thing. We need confidential transactions. AI. So AI is a big buzz. I think it will be a while before we actually see useful AI in crypto, just because of various tech differences. But two big things. One is private learning. I have a data set. I don't want everybody to see my data set, but I would like to train a model using it. Or I would like a third-party company to train a model using my private data. So you can do that. And this opens like a world, like a huge world of use cases, right? Because if AI eats data, and AI is the biggest thing to happen in our generation, then who's going to feed all that data if it's not confidential? Federated learning. I have a bunch of cat photos on my desktop, and you have a bunch of dog photos in a desktop. We want to train a model to identify cats to dogs, but I don't want you to see my cat photos, right? So you can do federated learning and AI using confidential data management. Governance, who I vote for, a DAO or anything else. If people can see the votes as they come in, then you can't really vote for who you want or what you want without the fear of scrutinizing or censorship, right? Or just skewing the entire vote because people are watching it. Identity, obviously. So yes, you can use ZK for identity, but in a very limited manner. If you can actually store papers on chain and have like intelligent questions about this, not are you over 18, that's easy, but like deep, intelligent things about identity, that actually paves the path for dynamic identity. Healthcare, legal, any confidential information that can be kept on chain means that we have a use case. And when people ask me about, give me the good use cases for privacy, I think it's actually not a smart question, because what app is not better when you can actually have privacy as a feature of it? So, I think we all know, like in our heart, in our bones, that privacy is important. This is why it's a human right. So if you feel that way, you're actually right about this. Regulation, compliance actually demands this sort of things. It's not against it, it's with it. It prevents exploitation, not just MEV, but becoming a target on chain. And it has a major commercial upside because, as I've mentioned, all enterprise, all company that want to do anything on chain will require confidentiality. Now, this is where you make money. We have dedicated a $50 million builders fund for those who want to build confidential dApps or just use our tech stack. So it's quite novel. We've launched a developer network. It's already out there. If you know basic Solidity or EVM, you can actually build on top of our network. It's not just limited to builders. We actually also have a creators program where people that can build content, distribution, etc., can also take part of this. So you can join this journey. We've been around for quite a while, so we know what we do. Scan this or just go to Coti.io to find us and take part. Any questions? All right, we'll be here for the next hour. Folks from Soda, please raise your hands. You see, no privacy. So Soda Labs are a bunch of smart people that have been dedicating their grown lives to encryption. And they are the folks behind Gobbling Circuit. So if you have deep tech questions, these are the folks you want to reach out to. Thank you.